Silk. The queen of textiles has a pride of place in every household in India. India enjoys the distinction of being the only country that produces all the four known commercial varieties of silk. They are mulberry, tussar, eri, and muga. Sericulture is labor-intensive in nature. It is an agrarian cottage industry in India, providing livelihood to more than 60 lakh rural people who are engaged in sericulture and silk production activities. With a broad agriculture base, sericulture is considered as an effective tool for poverty alleviation, rural development, and reconstruction of rural economy. India ranks second in the world silk production and accounts for 17% of the total silk produced in the world. The total raw silk production in the country is 19,500 metric tons, which includes 16,250 metric tons of mulberry silk, 2,460 metric tons of eri silk, 690 metric tons of tussar, and 100 metric tons of muga silk. To meet the consumer taste in the domestic market, which is shifting from the traditional heavy handloom saris to lightweight silk saris, there is a need to reorient the silk production plants. The powerloom weavers prefer imported bivoltine silk of superior quality as they are considered to be more uniform with less winding breaks and low degumming losses compared to multivoltine silk. The demand for superior quality silk is increasing in India for domestic consumption as well as value-added silk products for export. The annual silk requirement of the country is about 28,000 metric tons of raw silk, whereas our domestic production is about 19,500 metric tons. The demand for superior quality silk is increasing in India day by day for domestic consumption as well as value-added silk products for export. As such, we have no other alternative other than enhancing the silk production in the country. India needs bulk quantity of uniform grade bivoltine silk to meet the requirement of powerlooms and mill sectors in the country. The fact is that the demand from powerlooms for quality bivoltine silk is growing and we have no other alternative than to produce ourselves. Production of bivoltine cocoons on a large scale and quality silk yarn using automatic silk reeling units and multi-end silk reeling machines is essential to meet the domestic demand of weaving sector. The research institutes of Central Silk Board Government of India have evolved several high-yielding quality bivoltine silkworm hybrids which can produce 3A to 4A grade silk to meet the requirement of high-speed, shuttleless rapier power looms in the country. Major silk producing states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal and Jammu and Kashmir are implementing ambitious plans for enhancing the bivoltine silk production. Sericulture development programs like CDP being implemented by Central Silk Board in association with departments of sericulture in various states aims at production of quality bivoltine silk on a large scale. The package of practices developed by Central Silk Board research institutes have transformed the sericulture and silk industry from a traditional cottage industry to an economically viable modern enterprise. The introduction of improved technologies and mechanization in sericulture developed in the recent years have increased crop stability, reduced labor requirement, and enhanced the scope for large-scale farming in sericulture. Well-organized infrastructure with research, training and extension backup, conducive government policies and support services, established forward and backward linkages are nurturing a steady and sustained growth. In recent past, many farmers have found sericulture is more profitable than agriculture crops, especially in the states of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. Sericulture has been found to be a remunerative avocation with half an acre irrigated and 1 acre rain-fed mulberry garden that will ensure an income of Rs 20,000 to 25,000 per year. Further, it is observed that the returns from large-scale sericulture farming is relatively higher. A large number of small and marginal farmers have taken up sericulture as a major income generating avocation, and they have extended the area under mulberry from half an acre to 2 acres and even more. As on today, there are more than 600 large-scale sericulturists in the country. Many educated youths and professionals like doctors, engineers, industrialists and businessmen have come forward to take up large-scale sericulture as their main occupation. The automatic silk reeling establishments, multi-end reeling units and filatures need a substantial quantity of quality cocoons. This is possible only through large-scale sericulture farming. The large-scale farmers, entrepreneurs are utilizing the resources like land, labor, space and cash inputs in more efficient and effective manner compared to medium or small-scale farmers. On an average, the farmers rear one crop a month and obtain yields of more than 75 kilograms per 100 DFLs. Throughout the year, they used to get a regular income every month. Their average income from 1 acre of mulberry garden is ranging from Rs 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh per annum. From 2 acres of irrigated V1 mulberry garden in a loamy red soil under shoot and shelf rearing practice, by rearing high-yielding 3000 DFLs of crossbreed variety of silkworms, a net annual income of 2 lakh rupees can be achieved. However, there are variable factors that need to be factored in on a case-to-case basis.
முதல்ல நாங்கள் ஆரம்பத்தில் 1 ஏக்கர் மல்பெரி போட்டு அதிலிருந்து பட்டுப்புழு வளர்ப்பு செஞ்சிட்டு இருந்தோம். அது ரொம்ப லாபகரமாக இருந்ததுனால இப்போ 3 ஏக்கர் செஞ்சிட்டு இருக்கிறோம். வருஷத்துக்கு 12 கிராப் எடுக்கிறோம். ஆவரேஜ் ஈல்டு 80லேருந்து 85% எடுத்துகிட்டு இருக்கிறோம். மாதத்துக்கு 250லேருந்து 300 முட்டை வரைக்கும் நாங்கள் இப்போ செஞ்சிகிட்டு இருக்கிறோம். முதல்ல செஞ்சிட்டு இருந்த தொழில்களை விட இது நல்ல லாபகரமாக இருக்குது. முதல்ல நாங்கள் மக்காச்சோளம், மற்ற தக்காளி, இதுகெல்லாம் வெங்காயம், இதை பயிர்கள்லாம் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருந்தோம். அதில் ஒரு வருஷம் லாபம் இருக்குது, லாபம் இல்லாமல் இருக்குது. தென்னை போட்டாலும் கூட ஏதாவது ஒரு சமயத்தில் தண்ணி பிரச்சனை இதெல்லாம் வரும்போது பாதிப்பு ஏற்படும். ஆனால் இந்த தொழில் மாதம் மாதம் நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு நிலையான வருமானத்தை கொடுக்குது. அதனால் இந்த தொழில் செய்கிறோம், இன்னும் கூட செய்யலாம்னு இருக்கிறோம்.
It could be observed from the following tables that large-scale sericulture is economically viable and commercially feasible in southern states. Here are the tips for successful large-scale sericulture activities. Selection of land. Flat lands are suitable for irrigated mulberry gardens. Well-drained loam, sandy loam, red loam and clayey loam soils are ideal. Soils with 6.5 to 7.5 pH range are preferred. Integrated nutrient management helps to maintain and restore the soil fertility. High-yielding mulberry varieties. Use of high-yielding mulberry varieties like S36, S54, S13 and V1. System of planting. Inputs like FYM, fertilizer, compost and Proper cultural practices help to increase mulberry leaf yield per year per hectare from 15,000 kilograms to 45,000 kilograms of quality mulberry leaf. Establishment of irrigated mulberry garden. In large-scale sericulture, regular water supply is essential to maintain the mulberry garden throughout the year. Proper borewell and drip irrigation management helps to maintain good mulberry garden. Management of chalky garden. Young age silkworms prefer succulent, moist and nutritive leaves, preferably the top leaves. To ensure supply of such leaves in abundance, good pruning practices and application of FIM and compost are recommended. Application of fertilizers is preferred after 6 months of plantation. 40 metric tons of compost per hectare per year in 2 split doses should be applied. Wider spacing in chalky gardens ensures better aeration and abundant sunlight to enhance leaf nutrition. Procurement of disease-free silkworm seed, chalky worms. The silkworm seed plays a vital role in producing vigorous and healthy silkworms, leading to successful cocoon production. As such, quality disease-free silkworm seed should be procured from recognized seed production centers. Rearing of young age silkworms up to 3rd molt is known as chalky rearing. Incubation of eggs, brushing and rearing of hatched silkworm larvae up to 3rd molt are done under ideal rearing conditions of temperature, humidity, light, aeration, feed and hygiene. This ultimately determines the successful harvest of cocoon crop. In China and other silk-producing countries, more than 90% of the farmers receive only chalky worms from commercial chalky rearing centers, whereas in our country, only 15 to 20% sericulturists make use of this service. The large-scale sericulture farmers may procure 8 to 10 days old chalky worms from commercial chalky rearing centers to save time and labor.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ರಘುಪತಿ ಗೌಡ ಅಂತ. ಕಾರಳ್ಳಿ ಹಳ್ಳಿಲಿ ಇದು ಚಾಕಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಬಂಗಾರಪೇಟ ತಾಲೂಕು. ನಾವು CSR ಚಾಕಿ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ 5 ವರ್ಷ ಆಯಿತು. 5 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಲಾಭದಾಯಕವಾಗಿ ನಡ್ಕೊ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅವರು, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಉತ್ತಮ ತಾಂತ್ರಿಕತೆ ಹಾಗೂ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ಈ ಥರ ಚಾಕಿ ಕೇಂದ್ರವನ್ನು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
During the 11th plan period, assistance has been provided for setting up of more than 600 commercial chalky rearing centers in the country. Establishment of chalky rearing centers. Chalky rearing centers should be constructed as per the specifications given by the Central Silk Board and Department of Sericulture. Provisions may be made for 2 to 3 rearing rooms to facilitate batch brushings. It is advisable to have a separate chalky rearing center with RCC building with adequate rearing space and sufficient ventilation. This will enable for maintaining required temperature and humidity and other hygienic conditions. Large-scale leaf storage facility with coolers is essential for large-scale sericulture farming. Disinfection and hygiene. Silkworm rearing rooms, tools and other equipment need complete disinfection and cleaning to get successful cocoon crops. Silkworms suffer from diseases caused by bacteria, fungi, viruses and microsporidia. These organisms cause a number of diseases which affect growth and development of silkworms. Late age silkworm rearing. Rearing of 3rd, 4th and 5th instar silkworms is called late-age silkworm rearing. The late-age silkworms are reared in well-ventilated, isolated rearing houses. A rearing house measuring 60 feet by 20 feet to rear 300 DFLs at a time is required for 1 acre of mulberry garden. The late-age silkworms require temperature of 24 degrees to 26 degrees Celsius and 65 to 70% of relative humidity. The orientation of the building should be north-south direction. The width of house should be 20 to 22 feet and 10 to 12 feet high with 5 to 6 feet veranda all around to prevent the entry of direct sunlight into the rearing house. Sufficient space should be provided to the larvae in the bed. The bed should be disinfected when worms come out of mold to prevent diseases. Dusting disinfectants during feeding and molting should be avoided. The rearing house should have sufficient windows for good ventilation. An ante-room with wire mesh door should be provided at the entrance to the building to prevent the entry of oozy flies.
నా పేరు జీవి సూర్యమూర్తి, మిట్టూరు గ్రామం, వీకోట మండలం. నేను బైవాల్టిన్ రైతుని. సంవత్సరానికి 10 నుంచి 12 పంటలు తీస్తాను. ఒక సంవత్సరానికి 8 ఎకరాల మల్బరీ తోట ఉంది. నెలకు దాదాపు 1000 నుంచి 1050 గుడ్లు పెడతాను. 100కి 70 కిలోల వరకు పంట తీయగలుగుతాను.
Mechanization of on-farm activities. Mulberry cultivation is highly labor-intensive. If the operation time and labor involvement are reduced, the cost of mulberry cultivation can be reduced significantly. Implements like subsoiler or chisel plough may be used in deep cultivation of soil. For preparing mulberry cuttings, the machine developed by CSB Mysore can be used. The machine works with half HP single-phase AC motor. It is operated with ease and can produce 12,000 to 16,000 cuttings per day in a 8 hours shift. CSB Mysore has developed machines for pruning of mulberry, chopping of mulberry leaves, and for dusting of bed disinfectants. These machines also work on half HP single-phase AC motor. The performance of these machines is highly satisfactory. The cocoon deflossing machine, also developed by CSB Mysore, reduces the human labor.
My name is MS Vasudeva Ramkumar. I am from an agricultural family and I am a civil engineering graduate. I am growing around 1000 DFLs per month and I am getting an average yield of 75 to 80% per month. And while doing mulberry on a large scale, we need not depend more on labor. We are having many machineries which are provided by the department and they are giving it in a subsidized rate also, like brush cutter, power tiller and sprayer and cocoon harvesting machines. So there are many machineries which we get from the department on while we are doing mulberry on a large scale, we can get that machineries and we can reduce the labor cost and get more profit.
Contract between automatic reeling units and large-scale sericulturists. The Government of India through the Central Silk Board is supporting establishing of multi-end reeling units and automatic reeling units for the benefit of silk industry under the Catalytic Development Program CDP. So far, 225 multi-end reeling units and 2 automatic silk reeling units have been established in the country. The 400-end automatic reeling units are having capacity to produce 34,000 kg of raw silk per annum, working on a 2-shift basis. Financial and technical supports are being provided for the establishment of 8 to 10 numbers of automatic reeling machines during the 11th plan period. The automatic reeling units approximately consume about 218 metric tons of bivoltane or CSR hybrid cocoons per annum for producing 34,000 kgs of raw silk. Thus, each automatic reeling machine unit will be supporting 300 to 500 farmers for marketing their cocoons. The automatic reeling units may enter into a contract with the large-scale sericulturists to ensure continuous quality cocoons supply. They can assist the farmers for procuring and planting high-yielding mulberry varieties and chalky worms from well-established chalky rearing centers. Besides, they can guide them with their skilled technical personnel on mulberry cultivation and farm management, silkworm rearing techniques, control of pests and diseases, mounting of ripe silkworms on mountages, and harvest of cocoons. Quality-linked prices may be adopted for fair deal. The contract between automatic reeling units and large-scale sericulturists is a symbiotic relationship between them and brings prosperity to both. Catalytic Development Program (CDP). As a part of its developmental initiatives, the CSB has been implementing CDP as a centrally sponsored scheme in association with Department of Sericulture in various states to supplement their efforts in developing sericulture. CDP is a unique and effective tool for transfer of technologies evolved by the research institute to the field. The package under CDP includes the following: support for mulberry plantation development, assistance for irrigation and other water conservation and usage techniques, supply of rearing appliances including improved mountages, farm equipment to farmers for bivoltane, supply of quality disinfecting materials and other crop protection measures for bivoltane seed farmers, assistance for construction of rearing houses, assistance for maintenance of chalky gardens, construction of chalky rearing center buildings and procurement of chalky rearing equipment, crop insurance support for all sectors, setting up of production units for biological inputs, assistance for farmers training, door-to-door service agents for disinfection and input supply and assistance for sericulture polyclinics, establishment of automatic reeling machines. The large-scale sericulturists can avail the benefits of these schemes.
Honeybee Silk Corporation ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கு 36 லட்சம் டிஎஃப்எல்ஸ் பிரஷ் பண்ணக்கூடிய ஒரு கெப்பாசிட்டியில் 20,000 ஸ்கொயர் ஃபீட் பில்டிங்கில் இந்த ஹனிபீ சில்க் கார்பரேஷனோட சாக்கி சென்டர் வந்துட்டு நாங்கள் கிரியேட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். 800 farmers, 1 or 2 acres, 300 farmers, 3 to 5 acres, 200 farmers, and another 300 farmers, 800 farmersல 1500 acres வந்துட்டு ஒரு கார்ப்பரேட் பில்ட்டில் பெர் இயர் 150 tons மெட்ரிக் டன்ஸ் சில்க் ப்ரொடக்ஷன் பண்ணுற அளவுக்கு இந்த கெப்பாசிட்டியை வந்துட்டு நாங்கள் பிளான் பண்ணி அதுக்காக உருவாக்கியிருக்கோம்.
Large scale sericulture provides vibrancy to the rural economy. Large scale sericulture is economically viable and commercially feasible.